The other side is it's going to take some responsibility in the home. It's going to take accountability in the home from parents, from peers, from role models.
Man, Cattle Call Podcast. Tony Blakely here. Dude, you are my first interview. I looked before y'all came up here. I haven't interviewed someone since June of 2021. So you're my first one back, man, in like over a year and a half.
Let's go.
How you like that?
That's
Dude,
awesome.
I mean, you're helping me out getting back at it. Yeah. So Tony, how are you?
I'm well, man. I'm well. Just working. My family has grown since we last spoke. So
Yeah.
Just moved back here to West Tennessee from Middle Tennessee, and just raising the boys and working. So
Now, talk about that. So you're from Middle Tennessee, I know.
yes, sir.
What part? What'd you do? Even when you said move back, what were you doing work-wise there before you got back here?
Right. So born and raised in Clarksville, Tennessee. That's the top of the state of Tennessee, just north of Nashville. You know it well.
Yeah.
Graduated high school, came down to the University of Memphis
Yeah.
to get that bachelor's. That's where I met you. Obviously.
That's right, man. Yeah.
Two Middle Tennessee boys in West Tennessee.
We're about two of the only four. Yeah. No one ever comes out here.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or stays out here.
Yeah.
So, got my degree, and met my wife, then girlfriend. We were in the same college courses, criminal justice courses. So she graduated a year before I did, and relocated to Middle Tennessee, Nashville, just to start her law enforcement career. So I graduated, followed her out there. We had our first son, and not too long after that, she got pregnant with twins. And she's from here, and this is where it all started with our relationship. So her family and her support system. So we came out here, and so now we've relocated and got our three boys.
Yeah, three boys, man. What are their names?
The first is Tony,
Uh-huh.
and then the twins are Memphis and Zane.
That's right.
Right.
Now, Tony, is he the third
He is
in
the
a
third,
row?
'cause
So, your dad and you.
Right.
And then him. Okay, your dad, he's still in law enforcement?
He is.
Okay.
He is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nashville.
Yeah, cool. And so you're doing law enforcement. What was she doing for law enforcement? I don't remember that.
She was with the Department of Corrections, working state probation and parole.
Oh. Okay, I kind of remember that now.
Right.
Yeah, it probably didn't mean as much. I'm around more of that now, with work. Probably didn't mean as much then. And then now she's what, full-time mom?
Now she's full-time mom.
There's three boys under the age of what, 3?
3 under 3.
Oh, man.
In
How you
diapers.
like that?
In diapers.
Dude, how you like that?
It is insane.
Man. So now what are you doing work-wise? You're saying you're working there, working here.
So yeah, when I was there, I was a deputy, just basic policing, and now here I'm city policing. So
Yeah.
same thing, just a different uniform and different way to go about things.
Yeah. Do you have a preference in either, or are they just both different?
You know what? That's an interesting question, and there's already different styles that people have with law enforcement and their approach to policing or corrections, or in any capacity of just being a first responder in general. But I say that's a great question, because city policing and county, being a county deputy, those are two totally different sides of a coin. When you're with the county, not only are you operating at a very much larger space,
Right.
but the demographic of people that you can come across,
Gotcha.
from the bottom to the top, as far as financially, as far as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just, it's such a wide scope of the person that you can come across with.
Dude, that's wild.
All right.
Yeah. And then were you ever in a rural county?
See, that's
Okay.
where I was just east of Davidson County, which is Nashville.
Okay.
I was just east of there. So yes, the southern portion of the county was very modern and urban.
Yeah.
But the north part of the county touched that touched Kentucky. So,
Oh, wow, yeah.
it got
Way rural.
rural.
It's a pretty stark difference in how people behave.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
And two different ways you have to interact with them, or no?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Because in a more urban, as far as my my experience, in that more urban setting, you can speak to somebody
Yeah.
professionally.
Yeah. 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 No, yeah.
And
they'll
they'll understand how you're coming across
Yeah.
for the most part.
Right.
Unless they are, unless they're just one of those people who extremely upper class,
Yeah.
where they get what they want all the time.
Right.
Right. So on the other side of the coin, when you go to these more rural areas, half these people moved out in these rural areas because they want their freedom. They know their rights, and they don't want their rights to be infringed upon.
Yeah.
And then the other half are just out there because they're beyond country.
Right.
You and I are pretty country guys, but these people are beyond country, and sometimes people got to be yelled at to understand. Some people only respond to yelling. Some people only respond to cussing. Some people only respond to all kinds of things. You can't just have a calm demeanor and get across to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's a whole different world. Now, stuff like that, which we've seen it a lot through, COVID and everything. You got conservative people like us where we're, hey, back the blue, and you love policing. But there's the whole thing. There's like those memes where you have like the thin blue line flag.
Right.
Then you have the don't tread on me gassing flag. And it's like, well, you can't have both. It's either like you want law or you don't want anyone interacting with you that's law. So is there ever, do you run into stuff like that where it's like you have the people that are like, hey, we like law enforcement, but also, like you said, we know our rights, we know our freedoms, and you're infringing on them?
Yeah, that's extremely rare because most people, this again is to my experience. I'm coming up on my 4th year in law enforcement.
Nice.
This year will be 4 years. Most people, and this even goes for the city, they understand that you being in here in this capacity, that you've been called to obviously help them for some kind of emergency or some kind of crime. So it's not like, oh, we're knocking on your door to do whatever, to check and be sure you've registered your short barrel rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. That one was stolen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. One guy I work with, he's retired law enforcement. Maybe he'll come on sometime. He did 25 years for a county as a deputy, and did narcotics and stuff like that. Whoa. And man, he tells me stories, and he has me cracking up. Because he came in the year I was born, and you and I both know how much the world's changed the last couple of years, let alone 3 decades.
Right.
And he tells me stuff, and it's like, oh, dude, that's hilarious. And it's it's harmless stuff. Then you have times where he tells you these crazy, insane stories where you're serving warrants, and you have a ram guy, a shield guy, a shotgun guy, and you're fighting off dogs, and you're fighting off criminals, and the stuff you're walking in on. But even then, man, and I know you know way better than I do, he'll tell me stuff. I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. He's like, well, you can't do that anymore. He's like, yeah, those are the old days. And it's not even bad. It's not even controversial stuff. It's just not like the way policing's changed.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do that between people's phones and people's social media and Ring cameras. Right. Like they'll frame one thing, like you said, only cussing gets it across. And it's like, well, that officer called him a mother effer. Right. It's like, and then that's on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because these days, especially kids in our generation or around this generation, they see a police officer or a first responder in any capacity doing something to somebody, they're going to immediately jump on a camera phone instead of help. Dude. Do
you feel that pressure at work?
No.
Good.
No.
Is that just by department or just by where you're policing?
That's by the department, and yes, where I'm policing. I have never worked at one of these these extremely large agencies that you will see. Any of these first responders, I don't care whatever capacity, EMT, firefighter, police officer, in any of these large cities, Memphis, Baltimore, St. Louis, Atlanta, any of those large cities, that's a different animal. And they go through so much more. They see so much, and that's another conversation. But yeah, I have never worked in that large arena.
Yeah, I know. Which Memphis, it's a top 50 city. I think technically in terms of media market, it's like 51, so it's close. People, moving out, but I think their MPD is like 2,500. I think their quota is 2,500 officers. I know they're about 500 short. That's public record. And they're recruiting hard for it, but then you think 2,000 people to cover.
Right. It's actually interesting. It's
400,000.
That's really cool that you know that number. I speak to them often.
MPD.
Yes. And yeah, they are short about 500. That's the number that I hear most often right now. Here recently, is 500 is the number that I've been hearing that they need.
Man, do you think people actually like? I know you and I talk a lot. So Tony and I talk a lot outside of this right here. I didn't just meet the guy, and of course he knows a lot about me. And actually, we went out to dinner with him right after we got married. Y'all actually let us crash y'all's date night and made it a double date, which is great. Get to know a lot more about each other's wives. But, we talk a lot about our generation and stuff like that. And do you want to close it?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're hearing too much?
Yeah.
All right. I think the girls were too loud? Oh, now, Chief. Here we go. See what's going on. A lot of activity, man, living in the city. Sorry. Yeah. But we talk about stuff in our generation, what people think, where they act.
Right.
Do you think people our age are going to be first responders, are going to do military? Talk about all the recruiting numbers. Every like you said, in any capacity, all of us love. Do you think people are going to step up?
I don't believe so. And that's already it was something that us just growing up, it was something that wasn't really encouraged. I know my dad, him being in the profession, he didn't encourage me. He was like, go do something else. So after the politics gets into it, after the modern day, the current events gets into it, with just first responders, I just see people going away from it.
Yeah. Now, do you want to talk about all the stuff going on in Memphis? We don't have to get specific, of course, but now, of course, if anyone's listening to this, there's the Tyree Nichols deal that happened. I guess it was January 7th, I believe, was the stop. And now it's, February 8th right now or something?
Right.
So it's been a little over a month since then. That's a big thing. Now, okay, we don't have to talk just about that. Here's what I've been thinking about is, dude, look at the last 6 months of Memphis, where we started with the Eliza Fletcher deal. If anyone remembers that was the woman who was abducted and raped and murdered on a morning run. Right, and that was Labor Day weekend.
Right by campus. On campus.
Yeah, actually. Literally. It was between Second Pres, which is it's a nice, big church, and then you have campus, which has their own police precinct, and then you have some nicer homes around.
Right.
And so, anyway, that happened at 4:30 in the morning.
Insane.
I think it was on a Friday. And that's how it started. And then, of course, you had the shooting spree. You had the threats of other copycats calling stuff out. Then you had the thing where I had a friend in Chattanooga. One of my best friends sent me a TikTok, and she said, don't show your wife. And it was that girl at Saddle Creek with the abduction attempt. This was, what had to be, what is that, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago? There was actually a shooting right down the road from our apartment, midday between Christmas and New Year's. Stuff that's all national news. Then you have like the Tyree Nichols deal. So for 6 months, man, like Memphis has been in the national spotlight for crime.
Right. For the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And everybody who lives here is on edge. My wife doesn't want to raise kids here. We're at that point where we're having that conversation. Our oldest is 2, and the twins are 1. Mm-hmm. And these are conversations that we have where she's like, no, I'm going to homeschool elementary level.
Oh, stud.
She already wants to homeschool elementary level, but as far as enrolling them in a middle school or a high school, she's like, no, there's no way. Just
because no matter where you go, you're not going to get away from it.
You can't escape it.
Well, I've heard about like even Leanna's siblings. So that's one thing. I was getting married we weren't that young, 24, 25, whatever, but she has a big family. So she saw siblings in high school out in the suburbs. And I've heard stories about like their school in the suburb. I'm talking 25 miles out from the city. Dude, I've been into several sporting events for her siblings, and you go into the restrooms there around the sports complex, and dude, they're little saloon door, half door stalls. And the girls are like it too. You think, oh, guys don't have any shame. We go to the bathroom outside. We don't care. The girls' restrooms are the same way. It's because kids with drugs, kids with fighting, kids with e-cigs, vapes, dab pens, stuff like that. And then with everyone filming stuff,
too.
yeah. And then like that's happening in public high. Now I don't want to paint it like, oh, it happens all the time.
Right.
But there's been enough. Her dad's on the school board. He's aware of it all, and stuff that they've taken. I'm just saying that happens in the suburbs pretty rampantly for a suburban school. And I know they've cracked down on it. They have a lot of safety resource officers in schools, but the fact that stall doors like come up to our chest to protect stuff like that, man.
Right.
I don't remember this happening in Middle Tennessee. That's what I always say to my wife. I go, hey, this stuff doesn't happen in Franklin, babe.
Right.
Say what you want. I know all cities got problems, but this doesn't happen in Franklin.
Right.
Yeah.
So, gone are the days where somebody can, in that circumstance, can just go in that bathroom. This is what they're trying to remove, is somebody can go in that bathroom and you can just stand up on the toilet and crouch down, and nobody's in that stall.
Yeah, that's right, man.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And you're right. These children, these days, never in my life, I'm just in my mid-20s, but never in my life have I seen kids with more vape pens and more of these dab pens and electronic e-cigs, all that stuff, more than any other time.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all have to talk about that kind of stuff in what you're doing for policing? Just like the awareness?
No.
Okay.
And not as far as juveniles go. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure it's something that would come up as far as the SRO is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
That's a battle that they may be fighting, but as far as what we do day to day on the street, no.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about fentanyl?
That's
the F word.
Yeah. That's some bad stuff, man. This isn't even bragging, but I've already saved in the past 2 years, going on 4 years, please. In the past 2 years, I've probably saved personally by myself at least 10 people's lives that were just
they were overdosing
on fentanyl and were on death's door without any kind of intervention. Well, we're on death's door, so it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, and this is when they're ODing on fentanyl, you can find them and from what I've seen, about two kind of ways. Where they're totally unresponsive, like they're asleep. And then there's also the time where they're in and out, their eyes are barely open. People are changing colors and stuff.
Wow, yeah.
And this is some real stuff that people don't see, this ugly side of this drug, man. That is 100 times stronger than morphine. They don't see there's something called it has no official name. It has I'm sure there's a scientific name to explain it, but as far as law enforcement or just a nickname I've heard in law enforcement or from these drug users, is it's called the death croak. So some of these users will do something that they call chasing the devil, which is where they carry Narcan.
Yeah.
And they know they're going to overdose on the drug. They know they're going to overdose on the drugs that they're using. So they hang out with a buddy that says, "Hey man, I'm going to OD on this, but just Narcan me and bring me back to just get me."
Dude, can't even imagine.
Right now, you as a first responder, you know that Narcan, it can only help you for X amount of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't cure it.
Right.
It doesn't cure or fix overdose. It just brings you back. So hopefully you can go get some medical medical attention.
Right. Yeah.
But unfortunately, users have taken this Narcan and have used it. I guess I don't even know how to explain it, but they're just using it as a way to skate on by.
Yeah.
it's pretty rough.
Now, do people that you work with, when you talk about stuff like that, do they talk about, because I mean, back in the day, man, not even that long ago, I know police officers didn't even carry Narcan. That wasn't y'all's deal,
no.
you know? Do they talk about, like, you know, it's gotten that out of control that we weren't even having to do this, but now,
Right,
you know,
right. Yes, it has gotten. You're exactly right. It's gotten to that point where everybody carries Narcan, and I'll tell you this one story. That goes back to that death croak that I was telling you about. So I told you about the users chasing the devil, and then I mentioned the death croak. So I get an overdose call out here in West Tennessee, man. At that time, I got a call that a man had overdosed and was in his truck. So I'm running lights and sirens, get down there, and he's doing what people call the death croak. So he's unresponsive. He's not responding to his name or anything, or he's not responding to yelling. And he is doing this faint, closed mouth, essentially, or their mouth can be wide open. But this faint sucking of wind, where it's like. It's like a gasp. It's a really nasty, ugly gasp that you've never heard from any human that you've ever met in your life.
Oh gosh.
I would imagine that somebody would make that noise after they got hit by Ray Lewis.
yeah.
Like I mean, that's the only way I can think about it. There's no way. It's not a natural noise. So this guy, in this instance, long story short, I had to Narcan him twice.
Oh my goodness!
just to get where I could talk to him, just to get where I could speak with him, and he could be like, answer some questions like, "What day is it?" or "What's your name?" or "Why are you using drugs?" And we try to ask these questions to dig into the surface level and how we can help these people, and also just hold a conversation, keep them alert before.
Right.
For the good guys, the good first responders, our firefighters and our EMT,
the heroes,
exactly,
as I've heard them called.
Right.
Yeah, man, that is crazy. I mean, I didn't hear much about, which of course I haven't really been in this realm. Honestly, either of us that long and even following stuff, but I didn't hear about fentanyl. Even 6-7 years ago.
Right.
And of course with the whole opioid crisis and everything, and we know. Fentanyl is manufactured in China. I think it's something outrageous. Someone could fact check me, but it's something outrageous. Like it's in the 90%.
Right.
Some of the 90% of like the fentanyl is being manufactured in China.
Right.
And this is not even political. This is just what we know. And it's being shipped to Central America. And then it's being smuggled in through the southern border, which is a bunch of smuggling right now, honestly, because they can just bring stuff over. And we had one, you'd probably heard about it out in West Tennessee, Fayette County, not long ago. They stopped somebody with 22 pounds of fentanyl that was in that couch cushion, and they had temporary Texas plates coming up from the southern border, man. They were running fentanyl through West Tennessee, and I think THP caught them.
It wasn't THP. I know those guys. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Was it county?
I know two of the guys. No, it was West Tennessee Drug Task Force.
Oh yeah, okay. Drug Task Force was on it. Okay.
Those are some good guys. They got some really good officers. Great deputies in that task force. And they showed me the pictures.
Dude, that's outrageous, man.
I believe they were going eastbound.
Really? Yeah.
Going towards Nashville. You can expect the money, like you said, those southern states. You can expect the drugs going east from there, and you can expect the money going west.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what a crazy time. That we were talking about fentanyl and stuff. You don't even hear about. I mean, I know you still do, but I remember my dad. He worked in insurance when we first moved to Tennessee from Kansas. So he did it back in Wichita, and he did a course out in Wichita because at the time, back in the early '90s, it's Kansas. And if anyone knows anything, the stereotypes about Kansas pretty much hold up. There are a lot prettier spots than what people think.
Tornado Alley.
Yeah, but it is. It's flat. It's wide open. It's desolate. It's big. Back in the day, it was cattle drives through there and stuff. But meth was pretty prevalent there back in the day. So insurance, him being a claims adjuster, they were trained by, I think it was like we have TBI. I'm pretty sure they have KBI.
Right. I'm sure they
was training them on how to recognize meth labs.
Wow.
you show up to a house fire. Well, was it a meth lab explosion?
Oh, yeah.
And they're training on it. And they were talking through a bunch of stuff with meth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fast forward a few years, meth had, pretty big footprint in Kansas. We moved to Nashville. I'm young, man. I'm, 4 years old. And my dad, he actually talked to I think it was a state trooper or something. I can't remember who he was talking to. I was talking about meth because he traveled all over the state for stuff. And he was asking about meth, and the guy didn't even know what he was talking about. And he's like, "How do y'all not know about meth?" Like, it's yeah. And it was crazy because, Cookeville,
right?
I mean, Cookeville. I mean, for the longest time, it was the meth capital. Right. But he was like, "Well, I mean, it's not a big deal here. They're not being trained on it as much as they were in Kansas because, they're dealing with other drug problems."
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what year that was, but as far as meth is concerned, 3 years ago, Tennessee was top 3 in the country for meth production.
Crazy.
It was.
What are the other two? Do you know?
One of the other 3 was Oregon. But
wow,
it's these crazy wooded.
Yeah.
Where people just got. I can't think of the third state, and I don't want to lie to you. But top 3. I wish I could remember the year. I want to say 2021 or 2020. It was definitely Oregon, Tennessee, and I don't know, and not in that order.
Yeah.
So I don't know what order, but Oregon, Tennessee, and another state were top 3.
Golly.
Now, when you said that fentanyl is being produced in China, yeah, it is being produced there legally, but these Mexican gangs here in the past 2 years, have gotten wind of it, and they want in on that money, so they've been producing it themselves. So their production has actually escalated exponentially.
Golly.
Yeah.
So we're getting it from China and Mexico.
Oh yeah.
And then both are coming through Mexico.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The bulk of it, is gonna cross our southern border.
Man.
The bulk of it.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. Of course you'll get some through Canada, or we can fly it in or ship it in, but the bulk is coming through the southern border.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy. I going back to meth. So I don't know if I ever told you this. So in my job, I work with a lot of law enforcement stuff. I got to go on it was a compliancy check deal with it was a joint operation with a county, and then they had a couple different city departments also running it. So I went up to Tipton County, which is north of Memphis for listeners, and I got to go on a ride along for, I don't know, probably 5-6 hours one morning in a vest, and got to go do compliancy checks for sex offenders. Well, all these people are felons, so you're looking for stuff that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And one place was in a motel room, and at this point, dude, I've been in a dozen different houses.
Yeah.
Different races, different ages, different smells, different setup. Some stuff was real put together, and it's not. Other stuff is like, dude, I think I've seen this on a TLC show. This place is awful. Yeah. How do kids live here? Whatever. Right. Which they shouldn't. That's why we're doing the check.
Exactly.
But this one guy, him and his quote girlfriend were hanging out in this motel room, and all their groceries were, plastic, like Dollar General bags. They've been living in there. But that door opened, dude, and it hit everybody. They wouldn't open the door. They almost had to kick this door down. Mm-hmm. Guys flushing stuff, but he ends up, letting them all in. And when that door opened, all the officers and myself, hit in the face with the smell. And dude, I went in the room, kind of scanned some stuff. They were kind of showing me things. And it was, such a strong, awful smell. I couldn't figure out what it was. Mm-hmm. It smelled like industrial, No. And then I come out, so I'm with one of the police chiefs riding around with her. And she has a great pedigree too. So I was talking to her about stuff. I said, hey, what was it I was smelling in that motel? And she's like, oh, that's meth. And I was like, oh, dude, I could not get it out of my nose. That I was driving home to another meeting, and that whole hour and a half I was driving to that next meeting, man. It's like I could feel like it was just right there in the middle of my nostrils. And that meth.
It's crazy the stuff that we encounter and are exposed to when we walk into people's homes as first responders.
Yeah.
In any capacity, EMT, firefighter, policeman walking into somebody's house just to check on their well-being. You were called there, your selfless act. And what you can be exposed to, the toxic chemicals.
Yeah.
In this fentanyl and this meth and this heroin that they're putting in this stuff, it's toxic to humans.
Yeah. It kills people.
Yeah, exactly. Who knew? But it's not good for you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's crazy that you had to be exposed to that. But you're right. In these states where we come across meth more, the training, we've come across it so much as we have the training for it. So you'll see people today that are what are called lab techs. Because in that situation that you were in, I don't know if it was a nearby person, a nearby room, or if it was, in fact, the location, the residence that you were inside of. But a lab tech, everybody else is supposed to be removed from that situation.
Yeah, right.
A lab tech is supposed to enter that residence with the proper equipment,
right,
the proper uniform, which means entire body covered by a basically
sealed.
Exactly. To work with, to deconstruct a lab and work with these toxic chemicals. Humans shouldn't be living or exposed to this on a day-to-day basis or at all.
Which if the room smells that strong, it's like, dude, that's going into your system, man. Like, y'all are actually consuming that. I just can't imagine. Right. I can't imagine people doing it.
And you mentioned some of you touched on some of the brief homes that some of the few homes that you've come across that were just in squalor, that are totally disgusting. And you're right. Some people will have their kids, they'll have their babies in it. 4 years of policing. The one time I've cried on a scene was the first year I was policing. Excuse me. So this was just east of Nashville, in a rural part of Tennessee. Long story short, parents were in a domestic situation. There was incident where somebody's trying to run somebody off the road.
Yeah.
Then there's an incident later in the day where somebody is slapping the other in the face and attacking the other. Well, mind you, they have two babies caught in the middle that are living in insect infested home. That are living with feces and dirt all over the floor. They used they had a wooden back porch just like all homes. Well, they used their back porch like a landfill.
Oh, goodness.
And it just hurt me because one of the babies didn't even know it, and the baby was so sweet, offered me a water bottle. And I was like, wow, this baby has no this is this baby's reality.
Yeah.
This ugly, disgusting filth.
Yeah.
And this isn't an attack at the people. Like they were living in filth. That's exactly what it was. No, nobody else would describe it any other way. But for that was the baby's reality, and the baby's gonna grow up thinking that's normal.
Yeah, knows nothing else.
Right.
Yeah.
Tough.
Dude, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I know you're 4 years in. I talk to these guys, and you work with these guys that have been in it 20, 30, 40 years.
Right.
I mean, what kind of stuff do you gotta do, or at least implement in your own life so it doesn't take such a toll on your mental health?
Oh man, you got to have these we call them outlets. So some guys, of course, there's always outlets. That's what they're called, outlets. Now whether it's a healthy outlet or an unhealthy outlet,
right.
Unfortunately, unfortunately you can come across that when you're dealing with a first responder. First responders are working these crazy hours, whether it's midnight hours, whether it's an 8-hour shift, whether it's a 12-hour shift as far as policing concerned, or if you're a firefighter or an EMT, you're working 24-hour shifts. So you're working. You're not. Humans aren't supposed to be working like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we call them outlets. Some of the unhealthy outlets may be leaning on the bottle.
Yeah.
Smoking too much.
Yeah.
Even drug use. Yeah, not everything's legal. I mean, people are humans, just like in the military or first responders. And then the healthy outlets, we like to exercise. Well, I can only speak for me. I like to exercise. I like to go to the gun range.
Oh, dude, come on now.
I like to hang out with my wife, hang out with my kids. That's stuff that makes me smile. So unfortunately, so I don't have to. I'll be honest. One of my unhealthy outlets is my eating. I don't eat right, so I'll. One of my outlets, I may grab a a chocolate bar or something, That's but I haven't touched none of these drugs, but the thing is, as a first responder, and you'll learn, as you are a first responder now, is you got to have these healthy outlets because we're exposed. Not only is it the hours
Yeah.
that take the toll on the body mentally and physically, but it's the stuff that we're exposed to, the people and the conditions that we see these people in that we're exposed to.
Dude, yeah, that's all great stuff. What can you think of just for the public, man? When we talk about all the stuff that's been going on in Memphis, so of course we're all gun-toting believers over here between our families and our extended families and all that. But there's all this crime going on.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got to almost. Of course, first responders are gonna respond, but again, look at your response time. You may be looking at 8, 12 minutes, or whatever. Or like that girl that was almost abducted in the shopping center, but a guy with a gun, good guy with a gun,
intervened,
showed up and stopped.
Right.
I mean, what's practical stuff that people, whether they have a gun or they've never held a gun,
right?
I mean, what's some stuff you can say from the law enforcement side that, hey, what can you do to help yourself out?
Right. Yeah. So one way to help yourself out and to not make yourself a victim.
Yeah.
And to avoid from making yourself or not even making yourself, from allowing yourself to be perceived from these predators as a victim, is one of the ways is what you just said, is to go constitutionally carry a sidearm. And that's what we have here in the state of Tennessee. Is that's essentially the nickname for our carry laws is constitutional carry, which means if you're not a convicted felon,
yeah,
and you've shown that, and you haven't shown that you're irresponsible, you can carry a weapon. Now, with that being said, I'd say take it further, and of course, go get you some courses and go and go about it the best way you can, so you have some knowledge of it. But that would be the first step: is get you a weapon and learn the nomenclature. If you don't know nomenclature, that means the ins and outs of the weapons, what makes it tick, and how to clean your weapon and take care of it, because you have to. As your equipment or anything, if you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you.
Yep, 100%, man.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the first thing I'd say is just get knowledgeable, because the bottom line is, especially in a city like Memphis, where which is around where we live, there's a community and a culture that will prey on the public with no regard for safety, with no regard for property. So they don't care that you did yoga. They don't care that you're spreading good vibes.
Yeah.
They don't care that
I know.
They don't care that you went to church that morning.
Yeah.
They're just coming. They're coming to get they want what they want, and they're willing to take it by any means necessary.
Dude, is there anything that elected officials, and of course everyone has their own different political ideologies, but is there anything elected officials could do to clamp down on that and make your job easier and make even my job as a civilian, I don't know, more enjoyable? We talk about all the reform stuff going on. Like, how practical is that stuff?
Exactly. And it's, when you see this stuff going on, and you see it, and you live in a city where there's issues, and there's been issues for a long time, and stuff isn't fixed, you're kind of like, something's not working. So I mean, one thing that I can say from studying in college and actually having real world experience to what I have, the one thing that I can say is it's a double-edged sword. So not only is it going to take government intervention as far as politics and law enforcement, but it's going to take the other side of the sword, the other side of the coin. That's why I said it's a double-edged sword to attack this. Is the other side is it's going to take some responsibility in the home. It's going to take accountability in the home from parents, from peers, from role models. It's going to take responsibility and accountability so we the community and the government can attack it together.
Yep. All right, let's talk about that. I know we brought it up earlier about all the generational stuff. Dude, what is going wrong? I mean, I know, dude, that's $1 million question, and there's a lot. I mean, I mean, where do we start? Well, I mean, what is there any theme you ever see, not even just policing, just in life, that you're seeing that's like, okay, that's one reason that we're in the state that we're in?
Man, for me, it's a big part of our phones, our cell phones, and technology in general. And I catch myself in it. One of my best friends, he's stepped away from it, and he pushes me to do it. He's become more outdoorsy.
Yeah.
And he'll go outside with the dog and with the lady. And he actually just got back from East Tennessee.
There you go.
God bless this beautiful state we live in.
Yeah.
East Tennessee, we got the Smoky Mountains, man. He just got back from a trip there. Spent some time and got to relax, just in nature. These phones and these electronic devices, they got a hold on us, a bigger hold than we can imagine, or a bigger hold than we like to admit.
Yeah, man, it's funny with that whole Chinese spy balloon. People freaking out about it.
Crazy.
Which it is. That alone, objectively, is just a crazy situation.
Right.
But someone made the point that I saw on Twitter about, like, people are freaking out over this Chinese spy balloon. Meanwhile, people have had TikTok on their phones for however many years. It's like, dude, there's a real spy balloon.
Yeah.
They're sitting there watching all of it.
Exactly.
Monitoring everything, setting these algorithms,
Right.
Desensitizing you, almost like virtually castrating people that sit there and just scroll TikTok for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, do not mention TikTok in front of my wife.
She got
no.
Okay, I'm shocked.
No. She got me to delete it. She told me about it. She got me hip to it, and I had heard about it, but she was like, So everybody with the modern day iPhone, I don't know about these Samsungs, but as far as iPhone is considered, you remember when you get that app and you ask it not to track?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So TikTok is tracking your stuff regardless of what you're doing. That's a part of the conditions and the stuff that you signed up for. That's that box that you checked.
Those 39 pages you did not read.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You didn't even look. You didn't glance at them. You didn't even look at them. Give them the time of day, and you just checked that box, and you got to look at all the videos that you now love and enjoy, that you're glued to. But yeah, you're exactly right. They're pulling information, man, for who knows what, man.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what? I just saw something that I can't remember the news source. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. But this it said that the Chinese spy balloon was looking at military bases.
Yeah, I heard it on a podcast the other day. It was over like 3 different nuclear sites.
Right. So this isn't like, oh, I'm a balloon and I'm gonna strategically float over the suburbs.
Yeah.
And look at how schools are placed in neighborhoods and look at the parks. No, if this is correct, then this has looked at strategic locations for our military capabilities.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal. Now, you did ROTC in college.
Yeah,
right?
I did it for a little bit.
Yeah. Did you learn anything like military wise and all that?
No, not much.
Okay.
Not much. Just they teach basic tactics and just some leadership skills that you can use. So,
okay.
Yeah, nothing, not too much. Nothing in depth.
Did you know the whole time you were going to go into law enforcement? Or did you plan to do military then law enforcement?
Yeah, man. Well, me coming from a military town, which is Clarksville, Tennessee. Me coming from a military town, that was always something that was eat, sleep, breathe by others around me. So, but my dad being the police, that was always what I wanted to do. That was the end goal. Never knew when I ended up there, but I knew that would be a career at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether obviously, like again saying, coming from military town, the military aspect as far as my life was concerned, that being a career for me, that was just a question of if I would do it or how long I would do it. But yeah, policing was I knew that would. My dad has a picture of me 3-4 years old in a police hat with a badge on, with one of the old plastic badges.
Yeah, man.
And a ticket book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, there it is, man.
Yeah,
Meeting your quota.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's funny. We're going to do the listening thing again, and we're going to do the listening thing where I can hear myself again.
Yeah,
okay, good.
100%.
Where'd you learn that?
What?
Where'd you learn to do that?
What, like?
To like the sound check type stuff.
Like all this?
Yeah.
Dude, man, honestly, picked up on a lot of it. We had a podcast. Remember Austin Anderson?
Yeah.
Him and I had a podcast. So learned a lot with that. But before, I actually did DJing with his dad. His dad's a pretty big DJ. I actually DJ'd with him last April. And I learned all about sound.
His dad's
cables.
a big DJ?
Dude, his dad, I'm talking like commercial, like proms, homecomings, Peabody Rooftop. New Year's deal.
What?
Yeah, his dad's a big DJ. So me and Austin would go, and then it got to the point where it'd even just be me. I'd go help him set up, tear down, and then it got to the point where you get big enough, like his business and stuff. Where the last couple times I DJ'd for him, with him like alongside, I don't even set up. I show up and just help cue music, run some songs. But yeah, learn how to run cable, man. What goes what, sound, different decibels, and then even just through my own. I'm a big guy on learning through failure, and I fail a lot in a lot of areas. So even stuff like I do a podcast and listen to it back, like, man, dude, that sound does not sound great. I might have had it too high because you can turn it up, like, oh yeah, you hear that, you hear me, or hear you, but then you hear all that background noise. So sometimes I'd be like, okay, I can't really hear myself that well.
Playing around with it.
It's almost like flying in a way where like you're just looking at your instruments like, well, that sounds good. Yeah. And, that sounds way better, but I might be peaking too much. So when you hear it back, it'd be too muffled in your car.
Oh, yeah.
They're the little things you just learn, But I like these headphones in general, because this is how it's going to sound when you listen to it. Like if we're talking like that, you think, oh, I hear my voice, hear that, the train. That train's so loud. Like it's not even picking up the train, really, Right. Because these are dynamic microphones and they're meant for like speaking, spoken word, like not even recording music. It's for like voiceovers. It's just for you to speak. So I had to do a lot of research on what, and COVID was good to me, dude. 2020, everyone hated that year. That was a great year. I had the best 2020, man. I swear. So anyway, but yeah, man, I think it's interesting. I like to have hobbies, but the problem is I can't stick with stuff, Whether it's don't lose interest. Usually you get good enough at something or comfortable enough. Right. Not even good. I can be way better at podcasting. But you get comfortable enough where you're like, I can do it whenever. Like, golf. Like you get into golf or something, you're like, all right, like I'm competent in swinging a club. Yeah. Not great at golf at all, but I'm competent enough. And you're all right, on to the next thing.
For sure. My dad hates that about me.
You're the same.
I've done that a few times. I guess it's just because he's from a different time. Yeah. Where when you grow up and that niche in your wheelhouse that you discovered when you were 17, 18 years old, you're still swinging that wheel. You're still banking that at 40, 50 something years old.
Oh yeah.
So he didn't like that. I got my black belt and fell out of that. Well, I was.
Where'd you get your black belt in?
I got my black belt in Shotokan karate.
Wow. Okay. Do you want to keep going? Keep talking?
Yeah, we can keep talking.
Shoot, I just turned back. I was going to give you a hard start. That's great.
Yeah, before you, I hate to cut you off.
No, dude, but this is great.
But the most well-known person that you probably know in Shotokan karate is Lyoto Machida.
I don't know.
He's UFC light heavyweight champion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lyoto Machida practices Shotokan karate. That was my stand-up, and my ground game was just wrestling. Yeah. Didn't have a judo or a BJJ background. I was just a wrestling background.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, you still have to do stuff like that? Any grappling or anything?
Yeah. No stand up because in law enforcement, if you're using stand up, you're not using the stuff on your belt. That is there so you don't throw hands with somebody. So yeah, we use some ground tactics and that's some of the stuff that we'll see.
Dude. Now, Joe Rogan will talk about this a lot when you have people that work in military, first responder, or operator background come on about training law enforcement and like hand-to-hand type stuff. Right. Is that something that they're pretty emphatic on now, or is it still, hey, we could use a lot of work training?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's something that we can use a lot of work on. We touch on it yearly, not in a big, it's a very tight lens, tight scope that we embark on and touch on, but we definitely could use it more often for sure. It's very easy to end up on the ground with anybody, and just like I told you earlier, off the mic, here locally, we've been seeing people attack firefighters.
Oh man, yeah.
I don't even get that.
I do.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But we've seen people attacking and fighting firefighters.
Yeah. I'll take the bait.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Man, I think not even from a fire standpoint, because I don't know a ton about that really, but I think it just goes back to it's an authority figure. It's someone in a uniform. It's somebody who is representing something bigger than themselves. They're part of a team. Right. They got a bag or a patch or whatever.
Or with the government.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're the man.
Right.
You know, I remember when it was 2019, dude. You remember this? When there was that cat from, I think it was North Memphis, Fraser area, somewhere like that, and he shot down to Mississippi to buy a dude's car off of Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever. Goes on a little test drive. Dude, you know, they get back to the Walmart, and he shoots the dude, and then flees back to North Memphis in the dude's car. Well, the guy survives, and then calls it in. Of course, dude, he has all the guy's information because he had like his Facebook account or whatever. Had the call, and this were criminals being idiots because they're criminals.
Yep.
The marshals got involved, state lines. You know all about that.
It's over.
Yeah,
It's over.
Which I thought was the hardest thing.
It's over.
These cats come up from the Gulf, and they go up to North Memphis. I remember like it was yesterday, dude, because it was my first summer in Memphis. And they come up from the Gulf, and they go up to whatever, Raleigh, Fraser, wherever it was. That. And they end up, remember the dude, they show up to the guy's house, and the guy's car is there in the driveway. The car that he stole and shot the dude over is sitting right there in the driveway. So anyway, he flees. Long story short, for those who don't remember, don't know, him and the marshals get in a shootout because he starts ramming the marshal's car, and they shoot and kill the dude. And then everyone wants to come out and protest. It was so bad that Memphis Fire, it was an all hands on deck deal. So they have Shelby County there, they have Memphis there, and I don't even know if they had other departments. I know those two for sure. But Memphis Fire showed up on trucks, dude, and they start throwing rocks at the firefighters.
Oh yeah.
It's like, dude, these guys aren't even armed.
Yeah. You're here to save an injured person's life.
Yeah.
Why are you? I hate you.
I know. Exactly. It's the man.
And I do remember that story that you just mentioned. I didn't know that it started from the purchase of a vehicle.
Yeah, if I remember right.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's the story that I heard in the days following.
Right. So I know everything you said on the back end, the tail end of that. I didn't know it came from, shooting a guy, attempted murder, attempted murder and, motor vehicle theft. That's crazy. But it makes sense. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that's what that stemmed from. But these guys. That's not something rare. That's not something uncommon for somebody to not only be shot, but for a stolen vehicle to be sitting in somebody's driveway or their, or in front of their house.
I mean, do they just think they'll get away with it, or they just don't care?
Yeah, they just don't care. It goes back to what I mentioned earlier, that culture and that community. That it's sad. It's really sad. It's a lot of things, but to me, it's sad mainly. When you have and this isn't bound by a race or anything. I can only we're only speaking about Memphis, I feel, because this is where we live. So this is what we live and breathe and are exposed to every day. We can't speak for St. Louis or Atlanta, but the culture here, there is a negative culture here that encourages and reinforces this ugly behavior. That it's like, oh yeah, you can wear a ski mask and go steal somebody's property, and that's fine. Screw them. That's fine. Just take their stuff, and if you pistol whip them or if you shoot them, that comes with it. They earned what they worked for. They worked hard and earned what they got. So just take it from them. Since you don't have it.
Man, it's amazing. And one thing sure you see a lot of this with COVID. Ever since that, man, I was down. Two quick stories. We were still in Nashville at the time, and my mom went to her bank in it's Cool Springs, which is where Franklin and Brentwood meet, suburbs of Nashville. She goes into her bank, and of course everyone there. Okay, Nashville and Williamson County and all that, dude, they were pretty lax with COVID, all things considered. But they still honestly, and they still had their stand on the dot if you want to, whatever. But my mom walks into this bank, and she ends up chatting with the security officer who's in there, and he said something about, I don't know, maybe it wasn't even there. It might have been her safety resource officer at school. Either way, they talked about like the bank, and she said he said to her, did you ever think you'd see the day that you could walk into a bank with a mask on? Like 3 months ago, you walk in with any type of mask, they go, suspect. Out, take it off, hoodie off, whatever.
Right. Immediately suspect.
Yeah, but then like now it's in a way, thankfully that area wasn't enforced. But they were saying like, you have to wear a mask when you walk into a bank.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because this just goes back to what I mentioned about that ski mask.
Yeah.
These a lot of people aren't wearing the medical KN95.
Dude, yeah.
They're wearing ski masks that
Yeah.
the quote unquote or stereotypical burglar
Yeah.
would wear
Yeah.
when he's entering your residence or your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
A hole on the mouth and a hole or no hole in the mouth and just your eyes are visible.
Yeah. Dude.
So and then when when they're questioned about it, oh yeah, COVID and stuff.
Yeah. It's like with your mouth out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I was down in Florida. This is over the summer, and I was down there seeing my parents. And there's this one gas station near. It's in Pensacola. There's some bad areas, of course, nearby, but this gas station. There's a small area nearby that's a bad area. And, sometimes there's activity around this gas station and off this highway. So I pull over there. It's midday, dude. I'm there with my mom. I'm filling up my car. Other people are around. Well, I see these two cats, young guys, come walking over from some of these houses that are down a little side street on the side of this gas station. And, dude, I'm looking, and there's pretty diverse gas station. People traveling. I saw out-of-state plates. Saw some local people. Saw middle-aged families. Saw young people. Whatever. Saw me.
It sounds like you're aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. Dude. Hey, come on, man. It's situational awareness. Man.
Exactly.
I'm always telling Lena. Well, she's gotten a lot better. But I'm like, you better not be on white. Like if I can walk up to you and you're sitting in your car and you're on your phone, and you don't see me walk up to you.
That's
come
wrong.
on, get off white. But wear your surroundings. Well, I see these two cats come, and dude, it was your stereotypical like young gangbanger. Right. It was two guys that had their pants midway down their thighs with like their boxers and their basketball shorts hanging out, hoodies on. And this is like mid-July in Florida, wearing hoodies, they're wearing sagging pants.
Right.
And they had those like the ski mask looking ones where there's the big opening.
Right. So hold that there. Hold that right there, please. I just want to mention this one thing.
Yeah.
This is something that law enforcement looks at that the public doesn't look at. You mentioned this yourself, which is extremely surprising to me. It's crazy, and I love it. You thought about the month, you thought about the temperature outside. Why are both of y'all wearing winter clothing? That's where that word, the S word, suspicious, comes in. And I hate to derail you, and I'll let you get back to it. But that's that mindset when people are like, oh, this cop said I was suspicious, or yeah, he's just racially profiling me, or this, that, and the other. I'm not suspicious. No, things are suspicious, and things do stick out for sure.
I'm glad you said that. That's a good point for other people, because I, in a way, like wasn't aware I was doing it, but that's good that other people will hopefully hear this and be like, yeah, I need to start
for sure
putting the two together.
100%.
And you're right, it's not racial. Kind of to finish that, so we're going to go to another real quick story. So these guys come in, and as they're walking up, dude, and I'm there pumping my gas, my mom's in my car, every other pump's pretty much full. As they're walking in, what looked like beanies are those masks, and they pull them down. No joke. They pull them down, and you can see like their eyes and the top of their nose, and that's it. And they walk into the store, and I'm straight up, dude. At this point, I'm on red, like, I'm locked and loaded, and I'm praying to God nothing happens, and I'm looking around at everyone else, because the why situation too here could be, I need to get in my car and drive off and call 911. I don't need to stay here and be the hero and be the only one, because I'm also in their territory. Who knows who else is nearby? I know the two of them. Who knows who else is within walking distance?
And again, like you said, you're thinking about your mom. You're thinking about everybody else around you. And your mom, she's not soaked in. Your mom has not soaked in everything that you've soaked in up to this point.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. And anyone sitting in their cars have it.
Exactly. Right. But you're privy to this.
Yeah, thankfully. You know? And, end of the story, at least where I remember, nothing happens. They go in there, and I'm looking through the windows to watch everyone's reactions. And at this point, I'm done pumping gas. I'm just waiting, because you're like, oh, shoot, dude. I don't want to be a hero, but also don't want to be a coward.
Right.
We're like, oh, let them all just sit there. They're fish in a barrel, And these guys go around the store, kind of hooping and hollering. And next thing I know, last thing I saw was they were standing in line, and nothing happened. And I kind of waited. I got my car and it was pulling out, and I sat there and waited for both of them to leave. And they left. Nothing happened. Right.
Good.
Thank God.
Awesome.
Which it's just weird when you talk. I was kind of talking about the COVID deal where, they walk in, and you've been to those parts where you go to a liquor store or a convenience store or wherever, and it says on the door, no hoodies. no ball caps, no masks, none of that because safety. But you can walk in and you can pull these. And again, you're right. It's not racial. I was in a truck stop not long ago in South Mississippi, not a great area. And I go to the bathroom, waiting on Leanna to come out of the bathroom. I'm there just looking around. There's two white cats. So these guys in Pensacola were black. These guys are a little older than me. They're white. And they're dressed, honestly, dude, about the same. But they have like big like jackets on, sagging pants, shaved heads, face tattoos, neck tattoos, rough looking like gangbanging cats. And they're white. And it's the same deal. It's like, I don't care what color you are, dude. Like that person will pose a threat to me and my wife.
And I'm glad you mentioned that you touched on that it has nothing to do with race. When I was working by Nashville and working in that rural area, well, the demographic and the people who lived out there were mostly white. So naturally, most of the people who I arrested were white. That's how statistics and demographics work. Okay. So if you in Memphis, where the population is 70% black, you can expect your jail or the people arrested or the first responders come across to be around those numbers.
Right.
And that's not a racial thing. That's just
it's just data.
Exactly. And it has nothing to do with race. So I just love that you touched on that because people get so caught up in that.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame
and
too.
And they run with it. They just run wild with it, and there's no reason to do that.
Well, then you see it where, like the whole Tyree Nichols deal we touched on earlier. Well, you had, the 5 immediate officers that were involved and suspended, fired, and charged were 5 black dudes.
Right.
Since then, they've had, I think there's a white one.
One white officer.
But I don't know about the EMTs that responded. Right. That they're on leave too from MFD. I don't know what their ethnicities were.
Fired. Yeah, they fired 3 as well.
But
MFD. So.
But that's just data.
Yeah, it's just data. And this is something natural that we see. As far as when I was studying in college, studying this stuff and the statistics and stuff, breathing this stuff every day. I had a specific class my junior year. It was not research methods. It was another course that I was taking with a lady. So we learned that in the public, so civilians, in law enforcement, in prison, and in the military, you will see the same numbers as far as crime is committed across the races evenly. People commit crimes across all races evenly. So it's not something that sticks out. It's not like drugs sticks out for this race or domestics or rapes stick out for this race. It's all even across all races because it's just a human thing. So back to the Tyree Nichols, like you said, I hate that incident. It's pretty horrible. And before that day, this is the one thing. This is one of the few things that I immediately got from that. Before that day, a lot of people in the black community, whether that's 51% or 99%, between 51 and 99%, the majority of the black community before that day thought an unarmed black man could only be killed by a racist white cop before that day. So now,
Tony's about to preach.
I'll lay off of that, but that's just it's just something that for you to think on. Before that day, I'll say it again. Nobody thought that that an unarmed black man could be killed by anybody other than a racist white man. Right. So that's pretty heavy, man, and that's why it was a shock to the community. My wife was looking at Facebook posts. She's a stay-at-home mom. That's
her job.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of her resume. Is I can skim through some social media. Yeah. So and TV subscriptions.
Hey, but Tony's out there working for you.
Exactly.
Putting that streaming service on.
Yeah. God bless the stay-at-home moms holding it down. But she was. She was looking through there and she was looking at the comments and she was coming to me. I'm tired of it because I hear the law enforcement side of everything. So, I'm tired of hearing the civilian side of it. So, because they think of it irrationally, a lot of them. Yeah. Again, this is black, white. This ain't a racial thing. Anybody. So, anyway, she's looking at the comments and they're like, oh, I can't believe they were black. the cops were black? Question mark. Like what? Like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
And then thank God some people were commenting. It was so awesome that somebody was commenting, just something that made sense. Like, hey, this isn't a racial thing. This is an officer thing, or this is those individuals thing.
Yeah.
Which we've now seen come out that Tyree Nichols, I guess, had ties or had some level of relations to one of the officer's baby mothers.
Oh, is that verified?
This is
This is okay.
Yeah, this is,
well, no, I'd heard that there's rumor, definitely.
Yeah. So this
a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah. So again, don't want to touch on it too much, but supposedly one of the officers, the mother of his child, worked at FedEx with Tyree Nichols, and they had some kind of relationship, and even further, after those officers did that ugly thing to him that they should have never done, he sent a picture of Tyree Nichols to her.
Oh, man.
And to some other people as well.
Okay, I read that, I think, yesterday about how one of them, on their personal phone, took the photo and distributed it.
Disgusting. Yeah. Absolutely disgusting. Unbecoming of a first responder. And this is the weight that we carry as a first responder. Me as a Leo, you as a firefighter, and even the EMTs have to carry this load now, because they're being fired too in this situation, for duty to render aid. Right. So
ridiculous, man.
So this is what's crazy is now that this has happened, people are going to look at first responders. Hey, look at what y'all do. Look at what y'all do. So now we're good because we're throwing bricks at y'all. Our parents tell us, our parents raised us telling us it was good to cuss at y'all and tell y'all to F off because y'all are trying to help us out, It's horrible that people are going to take those bad eggs, not just police officers, but those bad EMTs that failed that day on that incident.
Well, like you said, and this is not an original thought, I'm sure everyone already thinks and agrees with something like this, but we're all told, and me, dude, I talk about this on the podcast now. I am a Christian, conservative, middle class, heterosexual white dude. Like, man, and everyone, of course, there's the whole thing. Well, everything works in your favor. I haven't seen that to be the case. No. Not because, any blessing I have, I think, is from God. It's not from any other circumstance that I literally could not control. But you're told, especially guys like me, because you think about anything that's going on with any diversity, inclusion, equity training, they're coming after guys like me, not to, take us out of stuff, but to like re-educate, where it's like, hey, here's all the generalizations and here's all the sins that like people in your position are responsible for. So like we're being told
responsible.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're being told like you can't generalize.
You can't.
You can't do any type of stereotyping or discriminating, which again, as a Christian, like, I'm fine with that. Right. But the problem is, okay, so I can't generalize a group of people based off of, a couple of bad guys. But the same deal, dude, it's like you can look at law enforcement that has millions of people, the county, state, federal levels in law enforcement, and different facets of law enforcement, and you can generalize that entire industry. 100%. Even if all five dudes, let's say all five of these Memphis dudes are in the wrong, you can now generalize the millions of, like, the thing about the George Floyd deal. You had 4 cops standing around. You had white, black, Hispanic, Asian.
Right.
So we know of at least 4 ethnicities in law enforcement. Right. You're going to generalize every single law enforcement officer of every single race and creed and ethnicity and gender based off of like one bad dude.
Now you mentioned in George Floyd. I'll just touch on this briefly. People don't know this. One of those people, I believe it was the Asian officer, was in training. Wasn't released from training. So when you're in training, especially in that capacity, where lives, civil liberties, rights, are on the line, and you're supposed to uphold that, you listen to the person who's been doing it for 10, 20 years. Half the length of your lifespan. So people were trying to eat him up, tear him
Uh-huh.
up, destroy his career that he's been on the okay. and he ain't been on the road long.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you talked about this 6-month span in Memphis. Well, guess what? We just had an MPD officer shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guess what? That was a suspicious person call.
No kidding.
Yes. It started as a suspicious person call. It had been called at one of the businesses. And
Okay.
I'm not sure. I believe this was East Memphis.
Uh-huh.
One of the businesses, and two officers made scene. An officer and his trainee made scene,
Uh-huh.
and the man was not on scene. He was nowhere to be found. Well, again, long story short, officers get another call about a disturbance. Well, the disturbance is next door.
Oh. So deductive reasoning tells you. Yeah.
Right. I think this touches on the context clues thing.
Yeah.
So, a disturbance call, to my understanding, breaks out. It comes out on the radio. Well, the officers are like, okay, we're already scene, so go ahead and show us show us making scene now. They get there. I don't know all the details. I haven't seen body cam. I don't know the details, but they make scene, and the gentleman was in the library, and he had caused some kind of disturbance. He was arguing with somebody. I don't know if it was a staff member or another person inside the library. But he was arguing with somebody for whatever reason. And the officers say, hey, hello, MPD,
Yeah.
what's going on? And not long after, the training officer, the seasoned officer with experience, is shot and critically wounded. At that point, trainee fires his duty weapon.
What a dog.
At that point, trainee fires his duty weapon and eliminates the threat. Did a great job. And as far as, to my knowledge, this trainee has been on the road 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
Golly, baptism by fire, man.
Baptism by fire. Memphis police officer.
Man.
Memphis police officer. 2 months on. 2 months in the car, out of the academy. 2 months in the car, and you've already been in a situation like that. And had to. Officers, we draw our weapons every day, especially at some of these agencies with these high risk or these intense situations. It's not uncommon to come across a police officer that draws his weapon every day or every other day. Now, this doesn't mean you point it or aim down sights or whatever people want to run with. But as far as putting your hand on your weapon or pulling it out of your holster to be sure that you're safe, or you can, for whatever reason, you may do that every day. So for him to, for a Memphis officer to do this, I'm not surprised, for one, and two, bless him.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Last I heard, the training officer was in critical condition but stable condition.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to also say, I heard this the other night. You probably heard this story, of course, because it ended up going through multiple jurisdictions. They had an MPD officer down, south of 240, and he was just sitting in his car, and he was just ambushed. Came up, and he got shot point blank.
What was this?
Oh man, this is over the weekend, maybe Sunday.
I haven't heard. I've been off work.
Yeah.
I've been off
I want to
work.
say it was Sunday because I heard about it Monday, and this guy, he's just sitting there, ambushed, shot.
The last day I worked was Saturday, so if it happened Sunday,
I think it did. I think it did because the guy shoots. I heard he was shot and killed. I've not verified that on my own. Usually, I want to verify stuff before I say something, but yeah, shot, may have been killed, but for sure shot. The guy flees, ends up coming through Germantown and Collierville on a chase.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think they lost the guy actually, so he could still be at large.
Wow.
But anyway,
that did happen.
Not even responding to a call.
Yeah,
sitting near, I think, right near the precinct down there.
This isn't rumored. This happened.
Yeah. Was he shot and killed?
See, as far as his status, his current status, I'm not sure. But it's funny. This is the second time you've mentioned this. Well, you mentioned a story where I'd catch wind of
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
back end. I didn't know how this started
Yeah,
again. I didn't
yeah.
know it started with an ambush. All I heard
Uh-huh.
was shots were fired at a police officer in Memphis. I don't know if this was. I'm not sure if this was Mount Moriah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
pro-
what I heard.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Mount Moriah or where it was, but officer was shots were fired, chased, and we lost the suspect around Germantown.
Yeah.
It's ugly. It's
Yeah.
ugly. If you're listening to this, it's so ugly and sad. But this is a reality where we can lose these suspects that are running from police and law enforcement after events like this.
Now, you may not know this, like the answer, which is fine. I definitely don't know. How likely, okay, let's say that suspect specifically, and you're looking at him to kind of, answer for the whole. When you evade a crime like that, and you are hidden from the authorities, how likely are they to act out again soon? Do they usually stay hidden for a while? Or it's like, hey, shoot, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to go and commit another atrocity.
Yeah, as far as those statistics, I can't tell you about the numbers because I don't know those numbers. Now, I will tell you this from what I've come across and seen just a little bit. People will steal these cars and they'll then go commit crimes with those cars, because it doesn't come back to them. But there are situations where criminals commit a crime and do what they call laying low or sitting down and just relaxing while the quote unquote heat cools down.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that Marshall situation that you brought up. The culture is so ugly and nasty and encourages this negative behavior that they may do something and continue with their life normal. They may be normal. Hey, I'm still going to work, or I'm still going to the grocery store, and I just happen to be driving the car that I stole last week.
Crazy.
Well, guess what? This county and the United States is filled with cameras that are called LPRs.
What is that?
This is common knowledge. License plate readers.
Oh yeah.
This is common knowledge. Like this is common knowledge. LPR cameras that will read your license plate and tell us that you're driving a stolen car.
Yeah.
And if you drive a car without the tag, we're gonna pull you over because you're driving a car without a tag.
Yeah. Dude, just funny. I was actually driving through Germantown recently. Got a couple things on that, dude. I don't realize how many law enforcement stories I have until I start talking to you, but I was driving somewhere through East Germantown, westbound on Poplar, and I see there's a Germantown cop, explorer running tags. Well, he ends up, I think I can't remember if he loops around or what, but he ends up being behind me, and right in front of me is an Infiniti with temporary tags. Oh man, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. An Infiniti with temporary tags, and in Germantown, he's staying real close to me. And wherever I was, however I was in front of him, blocking him. And so I get over so he can come up. Well, the Infiniti gets over too. And so now he's staying like almost in my blind spot with me right here. Infiniti's still in front of me, dude. And I see, it's almost like he's trying to get over. I know he's having to process everything, dude. So I just slow on down. And that cat whips over right in front of me in blue lights. And I was like, oh, man, perfect, dude. Infiniti with temporary tags.
Yeah, so to people who are listening, if you're not familiar with, I guess, these big city areas or Memphis especially, the most common vehicle, 100%, this isn't rumor, this isn't speculation, the most common stolen vehicle is an Infiniti. That's the model. Right now, we're seeing Hyundais and Kias being stolen in crazy amounts. There was a this goes back to the culture. There was a group of juveniles that were nicknamed the Kia Boys.
Oh my gosh!
Because guess what they stole?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Exactly. You'd be surprised to find out what the Kia Boys stole. Yeah, so you see that Kia Sorento beat up car, driver's side or passenger side damage. headlight.
What are they on? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, I might need to check that out. So
Yeah.
these LPRs, they'll know if a vehicle is stolen, and it doesn't take just the license plate. They can, this is just data. I mean, we look at China.
Yeah.
China has the cameras that can look at your face, and at your body, and tell who you are.
Yeah.
They can look at the back of your neck and at the wrinkles on the back of your neck and tell
Dude.
how old you are. So these license plate things, they can check. They can check a car. Dude, they can check. They can go just off the color.
Crazy, man. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
And this is common knowledge. This isn't no secret.
Yeah.
This isn't a secret.
Got that intel from the police.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny. I was actually at a meeting one night, and we had a captain from the Germantown Police Department. He's a SWAT guy, and of course, he does a whole patrol side and everything too. But in leadership, so he's giving a safety talk at this meeting I'm at for work. And he was talking about the flock camera. So your LPRs you're talking about, Flock is the the company that a lot of this area uses. And he was kind of explaining what they do, and that was just one little component of his talk about public safety. And he did no joke. He's literally talking about it and the role of these flock cameras and things, and what they do for the stolen cars and all that. And while he's talking, his phone buzzes, and he kind of stops and he reads it. And he's like, funny. He's like, one of our cameras just picked up a stolen car passing through, and he's like, don't worry, we'll have 2 units on it here in a second. He was talking about like our boys love those calls. Like they're there, like they're sitting there like a bull in the chute, and they're just waiting. And it's like, oh, it went off. Another stolen car coming through Germantown on Poplar. Let's go get it.
Man, I just love you said. You just said bull in the chute. Me and my wife.
Oh yeah, you're the grizzly man. Yeah.
Me and my oh my gosh. I guess my wife, she'll call me a big teddy bear. But as far as the bull in the chute, we're actually trying to go to professional bull rider event
this week.
There is one in Memphis this week.
So we're probably going.
Y'all are going?
We're thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
wait, is it? No, it's next weekend. I think next weekend.
Yeah. So I want to tell y'all this and just let y'all. We can be in touch with it. If y'all don't want to go, it's fine. I was gonna go to this one. I'm not going anymore. I'm going to Little Rock at the end of the month. So this week is what's called the whiskey tour. It's a new opener that they're trying to do for exposure for the PBR, and that they do for the young riders, so they can get some spots at nationals in Texas every year. Okay, well, at the end of this month, there's something in Little Rock at Simmons Bank Arena called the Border Patrol Invitational. That's like, it's the top. I think it's like some of the top. I think it's the top 30 bull riders on the planet.
Oh wow!
In Little Rock.
Wow.
2 hours away from us.
Yeah, man.
It's over 2 hours away from us, and it's a 2-day event. An invitational that we can get. I would say for sure, y'all come with us to that. And we all go.
Might have to.
Yeah.
If I don't have to work, I know I got some work stuff coming up on the weekends.
I'll send it to you and see what you think.
Yeah.
But
dude, yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, what were we just talking about?
Oh, flock cameras.
Oh yeah. I talked to some. There's Bartlett. I've talked to everybody. I've talked to Germantown. I've talked to Bartlett. I've spoken to Collierville. Tipton County. All these guys. Everybody has it, man.
Yeah.
This isn't just West Tennessee. This is something all over the entire country. So that's why y'all were briefed to it. Y'all are civilians and y'all were briefed to it.
Yeah.
If it was a secret, then y'all wouldn't be privy to it.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy too, because it's a weird balance. Like you can talk about a double-edged sword kind of deal. Of course, you look at stuff like the Patriot Act, and how the government will find ways, and it doesn't look that way, but they'll find ways to kind of bypass certain amendments. So, you can get your Patriot Act to get around your Fourth Amendment, and you have this surveillance on Americans that even like Snowden sit there and blew the whistle on.
All right.
And so it's weird where it's like, we don't want to be monitored, but it's also like, it's kind of nice when you're having these cameras, like a Ring camera can pick something up, a cell phone camera can ping off a tower, or a cell phone can ping off a tower, or someone can like have the camera and they can blow a whistle on something. So you can blow a whistle here with the train.
Yeah.
See, that picks it up. But like, yeah, when you have all that, like the public safety, like, it's awesome that these cameras in a way don't have, there's like no blind spots now between Ring cameras, phone cameras. Dude, I thought I knew Teslas have these cameras. I know people that don't even have Teslas that now have these dashboard cameras. Because a lot of people in my office, we got to drive around, and there's people that just do it, and they'll show us like cool videos of animals or stars or something they see. But yeah, people have dashboard cameras, phone cameras. Anyway, so there's constant
Uber and
monitoring.
Lyft,
Yeah.
they use this.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to be in an Uber or Lyft that has a dash cam.
Yeah. Makes sense.
A dash cam that's front facing or rear facing as well. You know, so when you pimp slap your driver and throw a drink on him from the rear and cuss him out for doing his job. Right.
Yep. Smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Man.
smile, and then we got your account information.
Yeah.
That you sent.
Guess you're not riding.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. So I mean, what else? Whatever time you want. What else you want to talk about?
Man,
what are you thinking?
No, I really want to hear what inspired you to become a first responder, because that's an extremely selfless act, and you know, like you said, they don't know that you and I have known each other for some time. I'm not sure if being first responders running your family. I'm not sure if I'm not sure what inspired you. So that's what I want to hear from you. Is what inspired you, and how are you liking it so far?
Dude, loving it. In fact, I don't get to do it a ton, so I guess most people don't know. So full time, I work in politics. I work for an office within the United States Congress.
Right.
So my actual like day-to-day job, and one reason I kind of talk about these different work events is I work on behalf of an office, and I cover 4 counties of our congressional district. Because of that, I'm meeting with sheriffs, police chiefs, fire chiefs, mayors, aldermen, alderwomen, county commissioners, city council, district attorneys, circuit court judges, dude, all the way down to RNs, whoever, man. You pick an industry. I probably had a meeting with them, which is awesome.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm honestly the kind of guy, which one reason I started this podcast is I'm interested in about every single vocation, and I honestly want to do about everything. And the Lord has blessed me with a job that I get to literally talk to people and about everything. So I don't know how long I'll do it. I really enjoy it. I think I'll do it a long time. The good and bad side is I get to talk to people that do a bunch of cool jobs. I'm like, shoot, I can see myself doing that. That sounds cool. Like you do these ride-alongs, man, and it's like, you know, I've gotten to train a little with a gun and get a little bit of certification on things, but it's like I wish I could do more. I want to do more, you know. And then it's cool. So anyway, before I even got into this job, when I was still a restaurant manager, I hopped on with a volunteer fire department in North Mississippi, down in Hernando area. So I haven't gone through the EMT yet. Right now, I still have my CPR first aid. I have that just from other jobs that I've had in the past. I just continue to re-up that. Or I actually have to probably do it this summer. But have my CPR first aid, and then some departments, it all varies by state, because I work with Tennessee for my job, and I'll talk with fire chiefs. So volunteer departments in Tennessee, you got to go through a bunch of training, computer tests, written tests, hours trained at the station before you're even allowed to go on call. In Mississippi, at least as far as I've gotten to experience it, you don't.
Wide open.
Dude, it is, man. It is. It's like no holds barred. I've actually, man, so there's weekly trainings, and I haven't gotten to go much since November, because it was midterms, and then you finish up stuff for that Congress, and you have the speaker vote, then you have the new Congress, and honestly, I've been slammed with work, so I haven't gotten to go. There's been times I go down 2-3 times a week for a few hours a night, nothing more than maybe 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on your calls. You can go down there and just do some training, chill, got to do some driving exercises in one of the engines, which is way harder. Dude, so I drove moving trucks for 3 years, big 26-footers, towing trailers, cars, whatever. And you get pretty good at that. You think, oh, okay, it'll probably translate. Dude, it does not translate, because you're sitting there in the cab. So everyone can picture a fire truck. your wheel is parallel to the ground, and it's in front of you, and it's big like a boat. And then the cab sits in front of the axle where your front wheels are. So, any car you're driving, you're looking at your wheels in front of you, whether you see them or not, and you're turning. So when you're backing, we're backing through like cones courses and stuff like that. And dude, and so also part of the training too is, you're maybe driving and you're looking in your mirrors, and you might have someone in the cab with you. Sometimes you don't, but you're also being trained and how you should be directing people,
Yeah, the hand
yeah,
signals.
man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they do the hand signals. Sure.
So that's part of the training too. Is you might have some heck of a driver, but if you can't direct him, dude, he's going off mirrors. So that's a whole nother art. Is you have two guys, standing there, and I'm talking, dude, we're doing driving at night. We're out in the country in Mississippi. It is a ton of fun, man. It is. In fact, I hope to get to the point, if I continue with it, and I think I always will with volunteer, I'd love to at least get my fire certs and EMT. I don't really. Everyone has a different niche in a way. I've talked to a bunch of different departments for this and my job. Dude, you know this. 70 to 80% of calls that firefighters, fire departments get are medical, and it's only growing. Fire is becoming more of a medical response team. Fire departments
versus actual response to fires.
So I actually talked with one guy who's a volunteer firefighter. I'm like, oh, great, man. This is up, about an hour and a half north of Memphis. Talking with him, his department, they're paid volunteer. His family owns a coffee shop, so he actually works there for his job. He helps manage this coffee shop, bakery, little event venue, but he is also paid volunteer. So the thing with that is he has shifts that are assigned, and you have to respond to the calls when you're on shift, of course. But if you're not on shift and you're in the area, since it's a volunteer, you can go respond to it and you punch the clock, and then you get paid to go do that call. Man, most volunteers aren't, but they do only fires. They do car wrecks, they do structure fires, and then brush fires, whatever they want to do. But like down where I'm at, like most departments, I've got, dude, man, it is a thrill. I've gotten to go on a couple of structure fires. And then, of course, like a lot of things, man, you get dispatched. You get it. It's like, oh, man, vehicle fire. Yeah. Oh, let's roll. And, dude, you throw on the turnouts, man. You go out, lights and sirens, man. You're getting everything ready. You're putting in your pack.
That's good.
And you show up and there's nothing there.
Oh, no.
And it's, oh, man. Then, like, your testosterone and your adrenaline just comes back down. You're like, all right.
I feel like some firefighters were mad at me here recently.
Uh-oh. Did you call something in? Was it medical or fire?
No. A lady called a fire in, and long story short, the fire was put out before they got there. She had thrown some stuff over there to choke the fire out.
Oh yeah, dude,
and it got taken care of.
Which, dude, at the end of the day, that's awesome. It's great.
And here's the context to that.
Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah. It gets you riled up.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. Oh, dude, before you finish that, like we had one with a smoke alarm. And dude, it wouldn't stop going off. We're getting dispatched. They are not responding.
Annoying.
And it was a duplex. So we get our gear, we roll out, we bring squad truck and one of our engines. And of course, I think a couple people brought some, like we had like a Tahoe, we use just with other stuff in it, like backup stuff. But so we ended up rolling like maybe 3 vehicles into this deal, right? And dude, I'm talking, we're scanning all the perimeter, man. We're trying to get in touch with the neighbors, all that. We end up getting in through this one door into like their kitchen. Dude, they didn't even hear it. We're sitting there knocking on doors. We're talking about lights and sirens. Nothing. They don't respond. They're finally like, oh yeah, no. Like, well, you got to respond. When we have smoke alarms going off, to the point where we're dispatched and we're showing up and they're still not. And also too, this was at a place that like 2 weeks earlier, some people on a different shift responded to that. You could actually see all the burns on the ceiling in the kitchen, dude, where they put out a fire.
Exactly.
So it's the same place. Like, oh no. But then, you show up and you go, well, dang. Like, you're glad you didn't have to put out a fire. You're glad they're okay.
But your anticipation and preparation, you think that,
dude,
and due to the recent event, you're like,
literally,
this is going to be another real fire.
Dude, literally.
Fire.
And you're sitting there, it's nighttime, and you're shining lights, dude, and you have your, so you have like a hotspot reader, and you can sit there and it's pretty cool. You have this little equipment and you're scanning, looking for the temperature on stuff.
Yeah.
Because also you're in a house, you don't know what's above, like the joists, the rafters. Like you don't know what's circulating, and at any second could go up. you're looking for anything. But anyway, nothing happened.
That's
but
cool.
they're also on white. How does a whole fire department show up and you're still in there? In fact, dude, we talked about, hey, we got to be careful how we get into this stuff because you could get shot, dude. You're out in the country and you break into someone's house and they don't know you're out there.
100%. And that's what I'm talking about with that county stuff.
Yeah.
These people moved out here. These people actually moved out here just so they can shoot people who break into their house. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So
your context to it. I just wanted to say I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think that's pretty cool because what you just said, now that you elaborated on that, what you just said is exactly how we get on burglary calls or alarm calls. You know, you may catch a building that was burglarized here recently.
Yeah.
And you get there and you're like, oh no, it's nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's why that's one of those things as a first responder that can relate throughout the professions, which is why I wanted to get your take on it and see what you see. Because you and we haven't hung out in a minute, man. See how you feel about it. And what, you know.
Yeah, I will answer your original question in a second. What were you going to say, the context of that woman putting out that fire? I'm curious to hear this now.
Yeah, so she had thrown a blanket over the fire, and I helped her stomp it out.
Oh, wow.
She threw it. She went and grabbed a blanket, threw it over the fire.
Was it like a kitchen fire? Or
No. She had lived in the house for 2 decades.
Wow.
Or a decade, and never used the fireplace. And was just about to sell the house. Ooh. And cranked up the fireplace.
Was it like a gas fireplace or wood burning?
This is gas fireplace.
Man.
And it basically farted out
a
big pile of dust and stuff that has been just building up.
Yeah.
And it just, it puffed out a bunch of stuff on the floor right in front of the fireplace. And before you know it, a fire is starting in the floor.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to do this.
Yeah.
At 3:00 in the morning.
Which you would think too. Which even before I was into fire, and I've gotten to learn a lot really fast for the few times I've gotten to go on calls. Mm-hmm. You think that stuff's like common knowledge. Like our apartment here has a wood burning fireplace. We're on the top floor with vaulted ceilings, and we moved in, and of course, my wife's like, "Oh, great! Now we can do fires," and we have because we've had some ice storms. The 2 winters we've been here. But I was like, hey, until they inspect and clean these chimneys, dude, we're not lighting a match near that place.
Exactly.
You think it's common knowledge, right, and I don't even know that much.
But common sense isn't common.
No, dude,
it's not common.
You're not kidding. You probably know better than anyone sitting there working around every type of person. But yeah, to answer your original question, man, why you got into it, I think like most people that do, like number one, you want to do something. I think as a guy, the way we're wired. Funny enough, there's a thing on TV over here saying meth mom. So, all right, maybe it is bigger than I realized. But guys like adventure. I talk about the book Wild at Heart. I think the way that God designed man versus woman, and it's sort of this whole big gender identity crisis deal we're in now. It's like, man, God designed mankind with like 2 different sets of roles into man and woman. And by both people accomplishing those roles, we can have a functioning world and society. Yeah. And I think with men like, we like adventure, we like risk, we like to do stuff with our hands, And so when you work office jobs, of course, you're kind of get like put in this little proverbial straitjacket where you can't really do much. And then, so you want something adventurous. And then when it goes in the first responder side or anything where you're serving or contributing, it doesn't have to even be like military first responder. It's, man, probably like you, it's like, man, I want to do something. I got to do something to contribute. I got to do something that I can serve my community and help out.
Help others.
Yeah, literally. Others. And there's people that, whether they want to or not, some people just are not capable of helping themselves, whether they're disabled or they're older or they're any like mental handicap or anything. And it's like, how can I advocate for them and help them out?
Right. And for that issue, they may have their own issues or they may have somebody preying upon them.
Yeah.
And that's why they need somebody there that can stand up for them and to be sure they're not being abused or neglected for whatever reason. Because there are some ugly people out here that will take advantage of those people.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Well, dude, Tony, any final thoughts? Any good quotes, book recommendations?
No, man.
Anything like that?
If I had a book recommendation, I'd say Leaders Eat Last. it's a book that I had to read by Simon Sinek, man. Just about leaders and and what they should, how they should operate and act. Just if they're going to be taking care of others, man.
That's good. Are you allowed to talk about that real fast?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
can talk about that.
Just because we didn't film this, and maybe we do need to get a picture too. I'm thinking about it. You have here Uncle's Nearest or Uncle Nearest.
Yeah, Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest here on the table with us. Just tell them where that is, where it's from, why you brought it tonight. And I thought that story you told was real cool about how they, I guess, founded it, started it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to. I'm a Jack guy. I'm from Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and we love our home here in Tennessee. It's a beautiful state. And in Lynchburg, they got Jack Daniels. That's where it's distilled. That's where the distillery is.
Yeah. Every single bottle you see all around the world comes right there. That spot. Yeah.
Exactly. So at Jack Daniels, I believe there's a statue of an African American man on the property that I guess helped Jack Daniels start his distillery and release the product that he wanted to put out to the public and sell and merchandise. Long story short, Uncle Nearest has been produced by the great-great-granddaughter, a whiskey produced by the great-great-granddaughter of the African American man that helped Jack Daniels in whatever capacity, whether it was his recipe or whatever. I guess that's something that we can all do some more research into, but help Jack Daniels discover the recipe to the whiskey that he wanted to produce, man. And this is my first time trying it
Good.
right now. Yeah,
can't wait to try it next time.
I enjoy it. Yeah, next time we will. And yeah, we can talk about next time. I'd like to talk about for sure about how you said those roles, because my wife, as a stay-at-home mom, she definitely has her roles for sure. And this isn't something that's put on her. This is something that comes to her naturally.
Yeah.
So I'd love to speak to you about that another time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll have to. And I'll be done with this little 75 hard deal probably next time we do it.
For
Just
sure.
if we keep this pattern of a year.
For sure.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
also thank you for the cigars. I can't drink,
no.
but I damn smoking a Tabac cigar from you, which I definitely appreciate. It's been very
sure.
good. You can tell.
Yeah.
It's about the size of. I don't even know.
I had to bring it to you. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Uncle Nearest. It's distilled in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
Perfect.
Right here in Tennessee, our home state. And I'll be sure to have some next time I come on.
All right, man. Shelbyville to Shelby County.
Exactly.
There we go, man. Well, Tony, man, love you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
man.
coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that was the first interview in a year and a half, man. That was a heck of a
go.
job.
Let's
so there we
go.
go. We will, for the, I don't know, first time in a while, we'll see you on the other side.
Start strong.
Yeah, that's right, man. Thank you.